adding to social wealth. To me, that's a mighty thing to be involved in.
To build on that vision of shaping
One
the future.
person who you need to talk to,
whether it's designing roads and bridges or doing
We've
environmental
established
work.
the capacity.
Well, it's very important to understand
Had a
the
20%
players around the region.
Africa, Asia, and
It's easy to agree that it makes a difference.
The global aviation and airport industries are extremely complex and dynamic. Change, it seems, is the only constant. What we do know is the major growth markets are in the Middle East and Asia Pacific. Landrum & Brown, or L&B, is a global leader in airport planning, with major projects in Dubai, Mumbai, Shanghai, Seoul and Australia. L&B's Australian division provides innovation and design support to its airport clients across the region. Why is this region growing so strongly in terms of aviation?
Well, if you look at Asia and the region, I mean, we've got a hugely growing middle class. It's predicted within the next 5 to 10 years it'll overtake North America as the largest single aviation market in the world.
How would you describe exactly what L&B does?
If you think about airports, really, they are probably the most complex piece of infrastructure you can think of. You've got so many stakeholders involved. You've got the passenger, you have the airline, you have the airport operator, you have all the government agencies. So many different stakeholders at so many different, sometimes competing interests. Specialists in airport planning, I like to think of us as the people who pull it together. We're the glue between all these various stakeholders. Our first task is really to try and foretell the future. We look into forecasts of activity of aviation. We determine what the passenger throughput will be in, say, 10, 20 years from now. We actually have a computer modelling system which looks at which really mimics how an airport would operate from the perspective of the rules the pilot must follow, from the air traffic controller's point of view. And it follows the aircraft, simulates its movements on arrival and departure, right through to parking at the gate. And through that, we're able to identify areas of congestion, where they can improve the taxiway and runway system, and also look at the airport capacity in general.
What's your strategy for doing business across the region?
Well, it's very important to understand who the key players are in the region and to build your relationships with these people. We've found that in Asia Pacific, our clients are looking for commitments, long-term commitment. They need to know that you're here for the long haul, and they also need to know that you're adaptable to their culture. Also, what we've found in Asia Pacific is people are very brand conscious, and so we work very hard in maintaining a very strong brand, and we're constantly looking at ways to invigorate that brand through the use of new technologies, new systems, etc.
I imagine that increasingly airports have moved from just becoming a transport hub to a business in themselves.
Absolutely. And I think with the rise of private investment in airports, and that's going to become very important for the growth of aviation in Asia. And so you've got to look at airports from two perspectives, as an important piece of public infrastructure, but also as a business.
What's your favourite airport?
Well, that's like asking their parent what their favourite child is, really. It's a very difficult question to answer, but I can say that I had 5 years in Hong Kong. That was one of my favourite airport projects. Places like Incheon are world-class airports for 5 years, winning awards left, right and centre. And Dubai for its pure energy and the way it's really transformed the city.
What environmental considerations do you have to take into account with airport planning?
We look at aircraft noise, that's a key part. We model the impact of aircraft noise on communities surrounding the airport. Then we look at ways of mitigating against that. We also look at air quality. It's becoming a more and more important part of airport planning. So we have models in place to look at the quality of air around airports.
It could be seen as an exciting time, couldn't it, where Australia is placed working across the Asia Pacific and into the Middle East?
Very exciting time. It is the Asian century. We're in the heart of all that. And I think, for our company, it's a very exciting time.
Let's face it, airports are incredibly exciting places. L&B's Australian division is sure playing an increasingly important role in this globally complex industry.